Hello and welcome to Hank Games Without Hank. My name is John Green. As you can see, we are here at the stadium of Newcastle United, where we will be playing. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. Newcastle United in a stunning turn of events. By the way, speaking of stunning turn of events, it's not raining in England. You will notice that we are starting 10 different players from the players we started in Europe at Sevilla. That's because the trip exhausted us. And we need to rest those guys because we need to have a big game to try to move forward in the Euro League. So we're going to do our best against Newcastle today. I would really like to get a win. Our form has not been good in the Premier League, and we kind of desperately need to get into the top four, as I've previously noted. Yeah, we're not getting there right now, but. It's going to have to happen with these guys. They aren't our best players on paper, but they are being given an opportunity to remind all of us that Swoodly Pooper games are not played on paper. They are played by men and women, mostly men, with massive hearts, like D. McGoldrylocks. He's big, he's red, he's found the perfect bed. D. McGoldrylocks, D. McGoldrylocks. He's big, he's red, he's found the perfect bed. D. McGoldrylocks, D. McGoldrylocks. Yes, yes, beautiful header from D. McGoldrylocks, and a fantastic cross from Stone Cold Steve with a C. Austin. Look, he may not share my worldview, but he can curl one in from the corner. Look at that, it was perfect. All right, now we just got to hold on to our lead, and that is exactly what we are going to try to do. So today I want to talk about plagiarism because that's funny. There have been a bunch of cases of plagiarism in the news lately, including Jonah Lehrer, who made up some Bob Dylan quotes and has had his book ironically, about creativity pulled off the shelves and has suffered sort of massive humiliation and been fired from his job and etc. I feel bad for him, but he also knew. He seemed to know entirely what he was doing. You don't make up quotes from Bob Dylan and then defend yourself in a series of lies unless you are. Yeah, I mean, yeah. He embarrassed himself, and in a way, he embarrassed his profession. That said, it's pretty complicated to me. I'm a writer of fiction. I don't write journalism, and if I did write journalism, I would make stuff up because that's the kind of writer I am, and I would be unable to resist the urge to make stuff up, which is why, by the way, I don't write journalism. Because I know myself well enough to know that, like, I would make stuff up. David Foster Wallace has, since his death, famously been accused by some very good writers who are extremely jealous of him, including Jonathan Franzen, of making stuff up in. Actually, I'm not sure it was Jonathan Franzen, to be fair, but I know some writers accused him of making stuff up and knowingly making stuff up in some of his non-fictional essays, including the one called "A Supposedly Fun Thing I'll Never Do Again," an absolutely hilarious essay about the pleasures and disappointments, mainly the disappointments of cruising, by which I mean like going on those big cruise ships. Putting a guy like David Foster Wallace on a cruise ship is a beautiful, beautiful thing to do because it is hilarious. But yeah, they say that he made up some quotes and that like he made up some conversations. And my response to that is, well, of course he did. That he did that because it was funnier that way, and it was his way of getting to his point. I felt a little bit the same way about the whole James Fry, whatever his name is, scandal in the wake of A Million Little Pieces. I don't value facts very much as a novelist. And so as a novelist, whenever I hear that these memoirists or nonfiction writers or whatever are making stuff up, I always think like, well, of course they are. It's so much easier. And also you can come up with better facts if you make them up. And you get to where you want to go faster, and you can make your point more beautifully than if you have to deal with like messy actual quotations when people are saying things that aren't sentences and stuff. Like nothing in Swoodly Pooper's videos is quotable because I'm constantly saying and like and not finishing my sentences and celebrating goals by D. McGoldrylocks when I should be, using a verb or whatever to make a sentence into a sentence. And all of the sentences are run-ons like this one, and etc. Um, and I use phrases like and etc., which means and cetera. So yeah, I mean, like that's the whole pleasure of to me, like that's the whole pleasure of fiction is that it isn't real. Who made the foul? Surely not. Surely Stone Cold Steve with the C. Austin. He may philander, he may drink, but he doesn't foul people in his, that's ridiculous. Um, by the way, a lot of people criticize me for expressing my differences from Stone Cold Steve with the C. Austin, but like I refuse to back down from that. Like we are very different people. We have very different sets of values, and like I'm not gonna sit here and deny it. Like it was, he's. I don't approve of the way that he lives his life. I don't think he values the right stuff, and frankly, I think it hurts our football team. Oh no, off the post. Oh wow, that would have been a beautiful goal from Newcastle, but instead, it's just it's just like anything else, not a goal. All it will be remembered for is not going in. All right, D. McGoldrylocks encourages one size fits all who's big and tall and short and small. Julian Lescott is disappointed as he walks off stage. Woody Guthrie, the greatest folk singer of all time, also playing for Newcastle United, leaves the pitch as well. Great goal from D. McGoldrylocks. So all of this said, what struck me as so problem. I mean, this is what's interesting to me. I am genuinely not bothered by David Foster Wallace making up quotations from people on a cruise ship. Although, admittedly, he also did not use real names. And he said that he wasn't using real names. So that gives him a kind of, like, in my mind at least, it gives him a kind of, it enters into a gray area versus making up quotes from Bob Dylan, who's an actual person. And, you don't want to make up quotes from an actual person because then that actual person will be like, well, I didn't say that, and that's sort of mean of you to say that I did say it. Okay. So, having noted all of this and like my personal lack of squeamishness about this stuff, my personal lack of squeamishness about oh no, it's Ricardo Bunsen Burna with a third degree burna. My personal lack of squeamishness about all of this stuff stems from being a novelist instead of just being like a person who like counts on the media to inform me about the events of the day. And that is really is a really important difference. But as a person who counts on the media to inform me about the events of the day, I want things to be accurate. And one of the sort of sad that's got to be offside. Oh no, it's not offside. It's crap, Andy Carroll. How come you never do that for Liverpool? That's frustrating. It's frustrating. We really couldn't. Once again, we get out to an early lead and then we give up a vital point in the second half. It's really, really frustrating. It's a really frustrating way to play the game, and I'm getting really angry with myself. So one of the unfortunate things about plagiarism is that it's used as a way of like quote unquote not trusting the media or seeing or sensing that the media has a bias, particularly sort of the major American news sources like the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal. And they do, by the way, have a bias on their editorial pages. But I don't buy at all the argument that any journalist journalists have personal biases, but the vast majority of journalists, they are obsessed with getting things right and with being accurate and with reporting things in a way that will allow them to stand by their reporting. It is more important to them than the quality of their writing. It is more important to them than anything. And like I get really angry when small examples of nonfiction writers, when particular examples of nonfiction writers are taken as a generalization or as an opportunity to generalize about nonfiction writers in ways that are completely unfair. And it isn't fair to go and say anything else about New Yorker writers because of something that Jonah Lehrer did, or anything about New York Times writers because of something that Jason Blair did. I think like that's the wrong way of thinking about the like a committed fabulist will always be allowed to lie because it's easy to get away with. What's impressive to me is the number of journalists who want to be accurate, not because they're afraid of getting caught, but because they believe in their work and its importance. And like that is really cool and beautiful. And so I think like when we see plagiarism, what we should really do is celebrate how infrequent it is in the scheme of things. How many people are? It's got to be no. What happened to your head? Oh, it's frustrating. No. Oh, what was that defense? No. Oh, thank God for Ricardo Bunsen Burna. It's all I can say is thank God. Oh, it's really frustrating to watch this. I know that you guys aren't having fun either. Um, I mean, we gave up a goal we didn't need to give up, and then we've almost given up 3 other goals. This has just been ridiculous. It's not Swoodly Pooper football. I know this is our B team. We should be happy with the draw. Blah 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 blah. Andy Carroll looks nothing like that, by the way. Um, that guy looks like Marcel Balboa from back in the for those of you for '90s fans of the American national soccer team. How about Marcel Balboa references? All right, all right, all right. We got to have one more chance here. Split the difference. Split the difference. Oh, I don't know any special moves. And then that was a foul. That was a foul. I got angry. 1-1 draw. A point, but it could have been 3, as is so often the case. Anyway, I continue to think that journalism is really amazing. How does that look like Andy Carroll? All right, best wishes.